everything and make sure that, you know, this is the only explosion that's going to happen in Nashville today. The dramatic thing, if you were closer, is the broken water mains do lend a certain drama to the scene, for sure. So all that, it's again, it's a hard thing, but that's why I'm feeling calm. Is well, we are in a famous place, and
this was a bizarre reaction, and I want to ask some questions about this Nashville bombing, and I wonder why we don't care. You're listening to Stuck in the Middle. I'm your host, Osiris. Thank you for joining. I hope you're having a great end of the year. This is a somber topic. Fortunately, nobody died, but the somber part of this is we have a bombing, there are no answers, and the public doesn't care. First, there were gunshots that startled residents right downtown Nashville early Christmas morning. People looked out their windows. Some people saw an old white RV just parked on the side of the street. Then you hear this spooky computerized sound of a woman's voice.
This area must be evacuated now. This area must be evacuated now.
When the RV exploded, shattered windows, sent debris everywhere, damaged several buildings. So that's in general what happened. Here are some of the questions that I have not seen answers to yet. So the RV was parked outside of the AT&T transmission building, they say as early as 1:22 a.m. in the morning on Christmas morning. So basically the night of Christmas Eve going into Christmas morning. What is he doing parked on the street at 1:22 in the morning and camping out until they said the bomb went off at 6:29 a.m.? It seems bizarre. Does that sound like the act of someone who's just looking to commit suicide? Maybe it does, but it's really bizarre to me. So he just parked there. Is he asleep or I need answers to this. After 4 or 5 hours, the residents heard the sound of gunshots. What was that? I still haven't seen confirmation if the gunshots came from the speaker system. I'm guessing that it's, from what I'm reading, it sounds like there's a speaker system outside of the RV. So maybe they were fake gunshots to wake people up. But we need to figure this out because shell casings were found at the scene. And they say the ammunition related to them was believed to have been set off by the large explosion. So is this ammunition that was in the RV? So someone looking to commit suicide brought guns with them just in case, to protect their ability to commit suicide. This is strange stuff. And still don't know if the ammunition was from the RV. I haven't seen that yet. All this stuff, if you've seen articles or things, please please let me know so I can update this. Isn't that bizarre? The gunshots? So one of the cops who arrived on the scene, one of the heroes, I would call them, who arrived on the scene, they came to the scene, they saw what happened, they heard about the gunshots, then they heard the bomb announcement, then they went knocking on doors to get people out of there. One of the cops said the RV, so they walked up to the RV, it looked, from the article here, it sounds like, and they said the RV had all of its windows covered. They searched for a license plate but found none. At one point, officers said he saw a camera above the RV's rear view mirror. So my question here, and it said, here's a quote from the cop, it felt like whoever was behind it was watching. For me, it felt weird. All the cop lingo that you hear about spidey senses, about the hair standing up on the back of your neck, all that went through my body. This whole thing sounds like a horror movie.
Hello everyone, I'm Officer Llewellyn. Initially we got a shots fired call. I was running zone that night, so I took it.
Good morning everyone, I'm Brenna. Like Tyler said, we got the shots fired call, so I was going to back him up on 2nd Avenue North. So I was just trying to make sure all of our people were okay, and then going from there, trying to figure out what was the best course of action.
Good morning, Officer James Wells. Shortly after the shots fired call came out, Officer Llewellyn had came over the radio and said I needed everybody here immediately.
So I was I believe the third or fourth officer on scene of what at the time was a shots fired call.
So we're kind of listening. This is an odd call. So we're sitting there, and my wife had just called because it's towards the end of our shift, so she was seeing what time I was coming home. And
So I call those cops heroes, not getting paid nearly enough to come into this type of harm's way, doing it anyway. Unbelievable. But a camera above the RV mirror with the RV covered. So what was it covered with, like something inside the RV covering the windows? So they said that the bomber said, Nashville and the world is never going to forget me. And that's why if you have journalistic integrity, you don't put his name, you don't put his face out there, in my opinion. But if the bombing stands as it stands now, with us not knowing anything about it, other than the extensive damage, some people were injured, none killed, is this a bombing that you think the world is never going to forget me? So what's my point? What's the whole point of this video? The whole point is we have more questions than answers. My whole point is everything in our country has become politicized. So right now with this bombing, there is no political angle attached to it as far as confirmed right now. So that means nobody cares. You see, Eric Swalwell can bang, fang, and Democrats don't care because he's a Democrat. He's still in Congress. He's still on the Intelligence Committee. Democrats don't care to know what Nancy Pelosi knew. Obviously, he shouldn't be on the committee. So Democrats don't care, but Republicans have a lot of energy about it. Let's say it was a random Republican and it was a Russian spy that they banged. Republicans wouldn't care less. Democrats would be in uproar right now. We don't care. A Congressman-elect, Luke Letlow, just died of complications of our 2020 plague. And the death, leaving behind a wife and 2 children, has become a political discussion. Republicans saying, their condolences, and some Democrats using this as an opportunity to say he didn't believe enough in the plague. He didn't protect himself enough. He didn't wear a mask, and that's why it happened. Meanwhile, there's Democrat politicians all over this country who are completely ignoring their own protocols and no energy, none on the Democrat side against it. But a man dies, leave 2 children behind and a wife, and that's a political discussion. Most recently, January 6th is a date to target where our own president says, quote, it will be wild. This is the day that we officially count, usually just a formality. Pro forma is how it's described in legal terms, meaning basically for form, just because. But it is now turned into potentially a political circus. Was this bomb in Nashville a test? We need answers. There could be people, whether you're protesting for Black Lives Matters or whatever the case is, Antifa, Proud Boys, whoever's going to be out there. Be safe. We don't know what's going on. Do you feel like our government agencies are on top of things? Do you feel like science is being left at science, or is it becoming politicized? With all the turnover in our government agencies under Trump, more acting directors than I can ever remember in my lifetime. Do you feel safe? Do you feel comfortable? Republicans, do you care about that turmoil? Or are you just blaming Democrats for the turmoil? We got to stop this. We got to look at things for their merits, not for their political angle. Take care.